Hello global thinkers, welcome back to Think BRICS, your compass for the multipolar world. You have probably heard the whispers about a new BRICS currency. Well, we are here to tell you that the new BRICS currency will not be unveiled at the upcoming summit in South Africa. But wait, don't click away just yet. There are several twists and turns in the story, the latest of which involves Robert Kiyosaki, the famous economist who hinted at a potential game-changer that could shatter the dominance of the US dollar. Intrigued? So we are. Let's try to understand better, starting from the very beginning of the story. The proposed BRICS currency will be backed by gold. Yes, you heard that right, gold. This model echoes the gold standard used in the Bretton Woods Agreement, which was abandoned in August 1971. This was when President Nixon made a move that forever altered the global economy by ending the gold standard system that backed US dollar issuance, an event now known as the Nixon shock. This marked a shift towards a fiat currency system where money's value isn't directly linked to a physical commodity like gold. Today, no currency is backed by anything of tangible value. However, the BRICS nations are planning to challenge this norm. Reports suggest they have been accumulating gold for the past 18 months, fueling speculations of a gold-backed currency. This could pose a direct challenge to the global dominance of the US dollar. Intriguing, isn't it? But here is the first twist. While some sources suggest that the new currency could be announced at the next summit, others believe it is a long-term plan. These include people like Leslie Marsdorf, vice president of the BRICS New Development Bank, who stressed that this is a long-term aspiration. He was then echoed by the Indian foreign minister. Listen to his words.
On what we will discuss at the BRICS meeting, that we'll have to see, because there are many other issues, but there is no idea of a BRICS currency, if I understood your point rightly, that currencies, to my mind, will remain very much a national issue for a long time to come.
I'm surprised by this statement. Share your thoughts. So, what is the truth? That's what we have come to find out. But before we dive into the BRICS currency, let's take a step back and explore the history of common currencies. If you're finding this content valuable so far, don't forget to share it with your friends and followers. They might find it interesting too. Common currencies come with their own set of advantages and disadvantages. For instance, the euro's introduction in 2000 amplified Germany's economic dominance within the eurozone. Critics argue that the proposed BRICS currency could disproportionately benefit China, given the strength and stability of its national currency, the yuan. Reflecting on the ambitious African Dina project, we see parallels with the BRICS nations' potential new global currency. Both represent a symbol of unity and economic independence. However, just as Gaddafi's Dina faced global resistance and ultimately met a tragic end, the creation of a new global currency by BRICS could lead to serious geopolitical conflicts. The world is watching as the balance of power is on the verge of dramatic change. Well, for more than a year there has been talk of a single BRICS currency backed by gold and commodities. But in recent weeks, however, several influential figures have debunked these claims. We would like to know your opinion on this sudden change. Please leave a comment below. Why this sudden denial, you may ask? Could it be due to the actual process of de-dollarization of the world economy? A process that has already been underway for several years, as attested by the International Monetary Fund. The US dollar's share of global foreign exchange reserves has been falling from 73% to 58% over the last 2 decades, and considering the currency exchange rates, the dollar's actual share is now around 47%. But let us not forget that the new currency is not just an economic issue. It's about balance of power, geopolitics, and a long and complex process. Countries are repatriating gold as a result of sanctions against Russia, and the BRICS are storing it more than the rest of the world. So, what's really going on here? As we said, the forthcoming summit will bring about a common BRICS fiat currency for everyday use. Rather, we are expecting something reminiscent of the European currency unit, ECU, an instrument used to handle oscillations amongst the European Economic Community currencies before the euro came into play. The ECU was more of an accounting unit than an actual currency, aiding in calculating exchange rates and reserves amongst the members of the European monetary system. But hold on to your seats, as renowned economist Robert Kiyosaki hints at an even more radical shift. He posits that the BRICS countries could potentially strike a potent blow against the dollar, not through a traditional currency, but via a cryptocurrency backed by gold. This announcement, expected at the Johannesburg summit, could send shockwaves through the global financial system. Taking into account the current weakened state of the dollar, held back by the dramatic increase in US debt and the widespread shift away from its use, Kiyosaki says this could very well be the knockout punch. His advice to investors: snap up gold and Bitcoin, which he predicts will surge to a staggering $120,000 next year. So what does all this mean for the global economy? The truth is, we are in a phase of exploration and evolution, and only time will tell. One thing's for sure though: we are sailing into uncharted economic waters, and we are thrilled to have you along for the journey. Don't miss out on our future insights. Ring that notification bell and stay informed. If you have enjoyed this video, show us some love by hitting that like button. As always, we value your viewership and look forward to seeing you in our next video. Stay curious and stay with us. Thanks for watching.